Theme parks are magical, or at least that's what they make us think when they offer us endless fun in all their roller coasters and mind-blowing attractions for a decent price. However, a theme park would not be a theme park if there were not crazy things happening in them. And I'm sure if you've been to any of these parks, you've probably seen at least one crazy thing that you'll remember for the rest of your life. In today's video, we'll be looking at 15 of the craziest things that have happened at these theme parks. Our first entry is, don't mess with Mickey and Minnie. There's this one visitor who went to Disney World and was hanging around the part where Mickey and Minnie get dressed. And when the most famous couple of mice in the world came out, some guy started catcalling Mickey. Which, by the way, isn't cool at all. You should never catcall strangers like that. Luckily for Minnie, though, she was with a very brave and eloquent Mickey Mouse. And when Mickey heard the guys, he literally said, "If you look at my girlfriend again, I'm gonna pop ya," in a perfect Mickey voice. My throat hurts, so I'm not gonna try it today. Sorry, guys. So there you go. Never mess with Mickey or Minnie. Our next entry is Bob Hope Obsession. Bob Hope was a British-American stand-up comedian who had a very long career. The guy lived up to be 100 years, and apparently some people are pretty obsessed with him. It's been reported that a few years ago, someone took on the task to place small photos of Bob Hope around a theme park. You could find photos of him inside ice buckets, in cash registers, and of course inside the park's rides. The entire summer, when you least expected it, Bob Hope's face would show up right in front of you. Our next entry is The Smuggler. There was this one lady who really wanted to bring her infant inside the famous Indiana Jones ride at Disneyland. Why would she do that, though? Well, I got no clue. But she was very committed to carrying on with her plan. She stuffed her infant in a massive jacket, even though all this happened in the middle of a hot summer. Her goal was to look pregnant, which wasn't the best idea since pregnant women are advised to stay away from this type of ride. However, she insisted that she was capable of going on this ride and the staff could not stop her. But everything changed as soon as the woman put on her seatbelt. That's when the screaming started to come out of her belly. She was caught, and of course, her infant was not allowed to go on the ride with her. Our next entry is Drama at Cinderellas Castle. Visits to Disneyland and Disney World can be magic and quite romantic. Tons of couples of families use their vacation to visit the place and have some quality time together. That was the case of a family of 4 who decided to have dinner at Cinderellas Castle. But things got a little crazy when the husband politely interrupted the dinner, grabbed a glass, and called for everyone's attention. He then went on to announce that his wife, who had been with him for over 15 years, had been cheating on him for the last year. That's just embarrassing. The guy and his children left, while the wife stayed there, crying. Way to make a dinner awkward. Our next entry is A Long Snake. Animal Kingdom is that part of Disney where you want to go if you love animals. But even there, animal encounters can be quite surprising, because sometimes animals are not in the places where they're supposed to be. One of the guys who used to work there reported that one time he saw a snake emerge from an area full of bushes. The animal was something between 8 and 10 feet long. It weaved through people's legs, bags, sweatshirts, and no one noticed it. No one at all. Our next entry is The Creepy Guy with the Scissors. You're not supposed to bring scissors or any other pointy objects to theme parks. I mean, there are so many things that could go wrong if people were allowed to go in with these objects. But apparently there was this man who managed to walk into a theme park with a pair of scissors. He approached a little girl from behind and cut the string of a balloon that she was holding. It must have been pretty disturbing for the little girl. Just glad the man didn't do anything crazier. Our next entry is Fake Snow White. You know how they say fake it till you make it? Well, there's one woman who took this statement very seriously as she dressed up as Snow White and went to Disney Park to pose as the famous princess. The woman was a bit drunk, but that did not keep her from getting all the attention she wanted. She even signed autographs and made a lot of visitors believe that she was part of the cast members. She was finally escorted out of the park by some police officers, not before causing a huge scene and resisting arrest though. If you ever get to work backstage in some of the Disney parks, you'll probably see a photo of this woman. She became a legend. Our next entry is Bad Hair Day. You know, this list wouldn't be complete without some crazy roller coaster accidents. There's this one in Nebraska called the King's Crown that turned a fun day at a carnival into an absolute nightmare for an 11-year-old girl. Her hair got stuck in the ride during the Cinco de Mayo festival in Omaha. And the worst part is that the poor girl spun around for several minutes before her scalp pulled away from her head. As you can imagine, the ride had to be shut down and the girl was sent to the hospital where she had to go through many surgeries before her hair even grew back. Our next entry is Waiting in Line. One of the most annoying things at theme parks is the long line you have to make before going on your favorite ride. Now imagine you wait in line for 2 hours just to hear the staff tell you that you have to leave. Yeah, I'd be annoyed too. But this happened at a theme park after a couple and their 2 kids had one of the most embarrassing and crazy days ever. The youngest of the kids pooped his swimming trunks right before going on the ride. Any normal person would be embarrassed, but the mother just said, "Not again," and then they left. I guess it wasn't the first time this happened to them. Our next entry is the glass eye. People lose all sorts of things during their visits to their favorite theme parks, and sometimes they lose things that are quite important to them. Kinda like your eye. Yeah, you heard that right. There was this guy who lost his glass eye during one of the rides. The staff couldn't find the missing item, but they stopped the ride for a while just to have a quick maintenance look. Our next entry is a bag full of skin. If you ever decide to work at a theme park, you better get ready to find some of the weirdest items ever. Park attendants tend to forget their stuff, and the lucky or unlucky people who find these things are the park workers. One time, someone found a plastic bag full of cat skin in it. It was very clean and looked like one of those bearskin rugs. It was a shocking discovery, and at first the park worker thought it was simply a dead animal, but it was definitely more terrifying and more Cruella de Vil-ish than that. Our next entry is a different kind of ride. Big Thunder Mountain usually makes it to this list for the crazy incidents that have happened in this ride, but the incident I'm about to share with you is quite different. It all started when a kid ate a lot of pasta with marinara sauce right before going on the ride, and when he made it to the entrance, he threw up. I don't want to go into more details than that, but the whole thing was quite gross and huge. The staff put a lot of trash cans and other barriers to keep other guests from walking into the affected area. Unfortunately, there was this one guy who just wanted to be cool and was unaware of everything that had just happened. He thought it'd be a good idea to jump and go around the trash cans, but he fell and rolled on the pool of vomit before realizing what was going on. He screamed and got out of there quickly, but he was wearing white clothes. Our next entry is the Deadly Rapids. If you ever go to Australia and if you love theme parks, then you should definitely plan a visit to Dreamworld in Queensland. Unfortunately, even an awesome place like this one has its own share of crazy stories. A few years ago, they tried to replicate the experience of whitewater rafting by opening a ride called Thunder River Rapids. But in 2016, 2 of the rafts collided against each other, which caused one of them to tip over and trap its passengers. 2 children were able to escape, but 4 other people lost their lives. The ride was shut down and eventually dismantled out of respect for the victims and their families. The park itself had to shut down operations for a few weeks while local authorities investigated the action. Now it's time for the day's best pick. This shows us a scary event at a theme park in which a car flew off the ride. Get ready for another crazy story with Chaos at the Big Thunder Mountain. As I said, Big Thunder Mountain is always at the center of any discussion that involves crazy events that happen in theme parks. You find this train mine roller coaster in different Disney parks around the world, but the oldest one of them has been operating since the late 1970s at Frontierland. Things took a dark turn in 2003 when a passenger car collided with the underside of the ride. This caused a derailment that made a 22-year-old guy lose his life while 10 others got injured. A thorough investigation determined that the incident happened because the ride hadn't received proper maintenance in a while. They had to close the ride for about 6 months before reopening in 2004. It was a crazy and tragic event, but hopefully it won't happen again. Before we move on, do me a favor. My analytics show that only about 15% of you watching are actually subscribed. Come on guys, what's up with that? Can you guys please hit the subscribe button? You guys watch my videos every day anyway, so you might as well subscribe and keep up to date with every video we put out. Our last entry is False Alarm. At the top of the list, we have a crazy story that made a lot of people freak out as they thought they were nearing their death during their day out at Disney. It all started when park authorities found a strange backpack at the base of Space Mountain. They brought a bomb dog named Pluto to sniff the bag, and when the dog sniffed it, he sat down, which usually means that there's a bomb inside the bag. People had to evacuate Tomorrowland as well as other areas in the park to run for their lives. And honestly, who wouldn't run amid such a threat? I don't think I'd want to be there if the bomb blew up. But apparently the backpack was just a forgotten item with a bunch of burritos inside, and the dog sat down because he just wanted to eat the burritos, and he was waiting for someone to give him the treat. I'm honestly glad that it wasn't a bomb, but I can only imagine all the stress that people went through before finding out the truth. Those are all the crazy stories I have for you today. Do you know of any other crazy theme park stories? Well, let us know in the comment section down below. With all that said and done, that's our video for today, folks, and I will see you all next time. Later, everybody!